Yay, we're recording. All right, guys, happy Monday. Welcome to our first team call of February, which is amazing and insane at the same time. We are having a great start to 2020 so far. January was a really awesome month for a lot of you guys, but February is going to be, we have a lot going on in February. We have Team Cup happening. We have our diamond group that goes till February 20th. And we just have, I don't know, this is like, the chunk of the first quarter. We're really in the meat of this first quarter of the year. So this is just going to be a big month. It's a shorter month. Actually, no, it's longer. It's 29 days. But it's also just a really great month for us to just hit the ground running as a team. And to really take the momentum from January and just keep cruising. So before we get started, I want to do something different and see if I want to have Trish and Julie introduce themselves really quick to the team, because I know you guys are newer coaches. And I want to start having newer coaches kind of just quickly introduce themselves. Oh my God, Trish, I see you already just like, what are you doing? So nothing big, just real quick, introduce yourself, where you're from. You can unmute yourself. You want me to unmute you? I unmuted you, Julie.
Okay. Oh, all right. Hi, guys. I am Julie. I live in Canandaigua. I am a nurse. I've been in Beachbody probably year and a half, maybe, I'd say. I don't even know. Sometime like that. But I just started really coaching the past month, and I'm excited.
Yay! Welcome, Julie. I know. I can't believe it's been that long. Wow.
I know.
All right. I'm going to mute you. And Trish, you're unmuted. Wait, no, you're not. Hold on.
Here, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm Trish. I live in Honeoye. I've been doing Beachbody for 3 years. Signed up as a discount coach to start, and only really started doing the biz, the very end of the year, and really started going hard in January. I am a nurse and not clinical anymore, but that's my story. 2 teenagers, 2 wild dogs that you'll probably hear in the background. And I just got done with a workout, so I'm a little frazzled. Sorry.
Oh my gosh, you're glowing. You look amazing. And your eyelashes. Oh my God. I love them.
Thank you.
Yay. All right. Welcome. Okay. All right. Done with that. Super exciting. Okay. I'm going to share my screen and introduce our guest speaker tonight. Let me figure this out. Oh my gosh. I'm having issues. I'm super excited that Laura was willing to share with us. So as you can tell, Laura, a lot of us are nurses. So this is why I was just super, super excited to have you on the call. Okay, let me see if I can get this right. Oh my God. All right, I'm having issues with that. But anyway, I was going to show the graphic, but I can't do 2 things at once. Okay, so Laura is a 2-star diamond. She is also a 2020 Premier Team. She actually started her coaching journey when she was 8 months postpartum. So she started back in September of 2017, still on maternity leave, 8 weeks out. That's insane with twin. Wait, did you say you were a twin mom? I might be lying. Okay. She's also, mama 3. She's married. And she is also a CRNA. She's been a CRNA for 5 years. I believe she is part-time with CRNA. And then she also has been coaching. So I was really excited. One of the reasons I asked Laura to share is because I truly believe that you can do whatever you want with this business. I've always looked and once I started coaching, I truly didn't know that I would become a full-time coach. It was something that I kind of had in the back of my mind, didn't know if I fully wanted it. And the more that I was in this, the more I just saw the potential of for myself. my life began to change, and that's naturally, I allowed Beachbody to be that solution for me. But the thing is that you can do this however you want. You don't have to become a full-time coach. You don't have to choose, and that's what I love about coaching the most. So I'm going to let Laura share her story. And I'm just really excited for you guys to take away some nuggets from her standpoint and really just kind of learn from her wisdom. So Laura, let me unmute you.
So much, Amy. I really appreciate it. I'm so excited to be here tonight and to have the opportunity to chat with you guys. There's nothing I love more than a bunch of nurses because my whole team is made up of nurses as well. Just a second here. Can you guys hear me okay? All right. And so I wanted to share my screen with you if that was possible. You think I can do that? Do you guys see this okay? Do you see my screen? Okay. All right, so like Amy's, let's see, I don't know where I should put this. Okay, that's probably best. Like Amy said, I am a CRNA. I've been a CRNA for 5 years now, and it's obviously a passion of mine to care for other people. And I just love how coaching promotes health, just like being a nurse, and how they work so well together. And I would never want to give up my career as a nurse anesthetist, but as I get more and more into Beachbody and coaching, I never want to give this up either. So I'm just trying to find a balance of doing all the things. This is my family here. Like Amy said, I started Beachbody when I was 6 weeks postpartum, and I just worked out for the first month or two. I was in a challenge group, and then I began coaching after that, and I've just been addicted to it ever since. So here's my initial transformation. I was just in a place where I really wanted to get back into shape and feel a little bit more like myself after having my twins. I already had a 2-year-old toddler running around the house, and I just knew that I wanted to be more present in their lives and the active mom that I always had been before having the twins. And so this was just a solution that fell in my lap. And like many of you guys, I'm sure, it was just something that came out of convenience at that time. So it's not the strongest of the species that survives, nor the most intelligent, but it's the one who's most responsive to change. And so learning to adapt to the change of, and that's like a Charles Darwin quote. I'm like a Christian. I'm not into Darwinism or anything, but I did like the quote because I did have to adapt to a lot of change going on. But what I found is that when I leaned into the change of being more busy, leaned into the change of being a working mom and wanting to prioritize my health, I found that I was able to do it. It's just learning to prioritize your time the most appropriate way. So just like Beachbody always tells all of us, I practice the vital behaviors just like all of us do, right? There's really nothing tonight that I'm going to tell you that's going to be earth shattering. There's nothing that I'm going to do that's mind-blowingly different than what you do. But one thing I know is that over the past year, how my team went to Premier was because I was consistent. Just the simple act of doing the monotonous work daily, and doing it when I don't want to do it, and just showing up. And my pace might be so much slower than Amy, or it might be so much slower than a lot of coaches that go full-time, but I'm not in competition with them. I'm doing this for myself and the pace that I'm able to do it because I also want to maintain my career as well, and everyone has different goals and aspirations in this business. So that's just how I've made it work in my life. So I have like a top 10 for how I personally create time to coach. I utilize my downtime when I'm at work. So I'm going to go over these and then I'm going to like break them down into individual things. And like, I want this to be, if you guys have questions or anything, or you want to just like say something throughout, don't even hesitate to just pop in. I practice my personal development. I do that on my commute to and from work. I work on my time, not other people's. You know, I think it's so easy, like with nursing, you can like put the work at work and then you can go home and like you might have the emotional baggage with you, but you don't have to be like grading papers or something all night. You know, we are fortunate in that realm that we can like leave the nursing work at work. But with Beachbody, it can be all consuming. So what I try to do is work through the pockets of my day, but also if people are sending me messages, I don't have to respond to them immediately. You know, like if I respond to them within 24 hours, I'm good with that because I need my time for family time or whatever. It doesn't mean that I'm not prioritizing their requests, but it does mean that I have a life outside of Beachbody, and they have to understand that if they're going to join me and my team, that I'm not available to you 24/7. You know, like I will get back to you within a 24 hours or something, but I don't have to like be at your beck and call every second of every day. So having that balance, I think, is important because it can be all consuming, and your family can learn to like hate you if you just like let it consume you too much. Rely on your team. Oh, I think we have, sorry. Okay. I'm going to try to follow up with this chat at the same time. Ask for help. I'm certainly someone that has learned to delegate things because I cannot simply do everything on my own, especially when I'm also working with this. Be willing to make sacrifices. I get my spouse involved, definitely. You'll see that. And then I incentivize my team and try to make it fun. So right, exactly, Amy. Yeah, I do like a lot of work pockets when I'm in the hospital, and I'll be talking about that. So I utilize the downtime at work. So the way my schedule works is I show up to the operating room at like 6:30 in the morning, and I literally don't have a break until whenever someone comes into my operating room in the morning. And that could be any time from like 7 a.m. to 11 a.m. And it's only a 15-minute break. But I still utilize that. I go to the bathroom, and then I am utilizing the other 15 minutes instead of going to the break room and gossiping and talking about like all the awful things about like the patient or whatever. That's so easy in nursing to get sucked into. So I just like try to find like a corner where I'm like not with people and like send out invites, respond to messages. I use that time wisely. And then I'm like eating like, you know, my beach bar or something. And then I get a 30-minute lunch. I do the same thing at lunch. So I used to pump during my lunch hour for an entire year. So I was used to not sitting at the lunch table and gossiping with everyone. And then after that year ended, I was already being a coach at that time because I came back from maternity leave. I was already coaching. So I just enjoyed that time to myself. And I don't get wrapped up in like the gossip at lunch, and I don't sit down at the table. And so I utilize that 30 minutes to eat my lunch and like try to send some invites, like connect with my team, talk to my coaches, but I'm using that time wisely. If I have case delays and I'm sitting in my OR for 15, 20 minutes, I utilize that time. A lot of coaches that you're going to talk to will say, I only do power hours. I have 2 hours in the evening and I have to sit down at a desk. And I love that idea. Like I love the idea of it. It's just not practical for my life. So in my scrub pockets, I literally have like a small notebook, and I will do my tracking on this small notebook in my scrub jacket. So my business is 100% on the run. And I wish it could be like 2 hours where I'm just sitting on a computer and doing, like graphics and stuff at a computer instead of on my phone. But the reality of it is this is how I'm able to make it work. use power pockets instead of power hours for the most part. Personal development. So what I had done is I first started listening to audiobooks like from the library. I was using like they were free from the library. I was just getting frustrated because I would be like on a 6-week wait list or something for a book that I wanted to read 2 weeks ago. And I just got tired of it. So finally what we did is we moved to a new home in April of this past year. And I told my husband if we could get rid of the $200 cable bill, I would really like to get Audible. So Audible is like something you can pay $15 a month for, and you can get any books you want. So I listen to all of my personal development, and then when I get to work, I do try to write down like pointers that like my takeaways, so that I can go back to them and look at them again. But it's not something that I'm like actually like sitting through and like reading a book every day. But I would love to do that if I had more time. I also, this is when I listen to my national wake up calls. I listen to podcasts during this time. Usually it's like for instance, I haven't listened to the national wake up call from today. I will listen to it either on my way home from work today, but my husband and I carpool today. So it'll be tomorrow morning is when I'll listen to it. But I always catch up like within a day or something. These are a few of the books that I've listened to over the past year. And it's just amazing because I have seriously, I'll finish, there's like even a trade-in thing that you can do. So you don't always have to rent them. You can like trade your old books in for new ones for free. And I've listened to at least a book a month, if not more. And it's just been a great way to like stay consistent with my personal development. I talked to you about working on my time, not theirs. If someone, like if you send out, let's say you send out 30 invites, those people are going to start responding to you if it's in like a regular hour of the day. I don't respond to any of those messages until I hit my goal of invites that I've sent, that I want to send out for the day, before I go back and actually start responding to them, because it can just be like a rabbit hole where you get into a conversation with someone and you get totally distracted, and then you don't end up sending the rest of your invites for the day. So I make sure to get all my invites sent and then go back and message people back after I have my stuff done. So that's working on my time first. And then relying on my team. This is something that I have learned the hard way. Like a lot of things I wanted to do didn't get accomplished because I physically couldn't do it all in a day. So I've learned to rely on my team. Amy Smith is a teacher by trade, and I have this huge limiting belief that like nurses cannot be good at this business because we are not creative like teachers. And it's so awful, but I'm like a downline from the Inspiration Crew, which is Ashley Smith. I don't know if you guys are familiar with her, but she's a teacher. So naturally, like our whole team we have a ton of teachers on our team, and they're all very creative and like good with graphics, awesome with Google Drive, things like that. And that's just been a big learning curve for me to like figure out how to do all of that. And so Amy Smith is one of my best friends from college. She was a roommate, and she is awesome at this because she's a first grade teacher. So she has like really brought me on board with Google Drive. She like helps run our calendar for our team. Megan Saunders is another one of my coaches. She does all of her tracking on Google Streak. So she has like really brought our team on board with how to track better. And then Kylie is one of my coaches that does an awesome job of just signing new challenges up as coaches. So like I like delegate different activities to coaches that I see a lot of skill set in, and then they will branch out and kind of like lead our team in those separate areas. And then it also offloads a lot of the work for me too. So another thing I do just as a time saver, convenience kind of thing for me is that I don't know how, Amy, I don't know how you guys run your challenge groups. Do you guys have multiple groups a month?
I think all of us are maybe kind of different. I used to run them like new group every month. on
Uh-huh.
my challenge tracker. And then I tried it out on Facebook for a little while. And then I went back to my challenge tracker. And now I do what I think you're about to say. I do like an ongoing group, but I enroll and I do a different, like a new theme every month. I basically promote it like it's a new thing.
Yeah.
It's an ongoing group.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's what we used to do too, is we would like start a brand new challenge group every single month, all new graphics, everything like, and we do still use new graphics every month, but we have like an ongoing group, and it has just like extremely made my life easier. So I have an ongoing fit club, and then a challenge, like I will have a new challenge group after each month, but then after that month, they go into my fit club. If like right now, since we're doing like the bar blend launch, I don't have a challenge group. I throw all the new challengers in the bar blend because most of my new challengers are doing bar blend. If they're not, then I'll just put them right into the fit club. But not having 3 groups has been like such a like load off my shoulders. It's been unbelievable. So sounds like you're already doing that, and that's great because it's just less to worry about. And then be willing to ask for help. And I think as women, this is just something that's really hard for us to do. But ask for help around the home, ask for help with your kids, chores, like divide up your chores with your significant other and have those conversations with them. Like say how passionate you are about doing this and how you need the time in the day to like make it happen. And also like common errands, like, so for instance, if you need help with the kids, we have a nanny in our home. So like if you need help with kids from your church, like you can get like a teenager from the church or something to pay them like something cheap and go out on a date night. Like these are like important things for you to like connect with your spouse, and then they may be willing to take on a little bit more because you're connecting with them. So I think it's all about give and take. It's all about like a ton of good communication. But it's worth having a better relationship with your spouse so that they're willing to take an extra lead in some of the other things around the house, like chores and things like that. Common errands like grocery shopping stuff, I'm all about delivery. So if you, or like even shopping online and then doing the pickup thing, there's a lot of things in our life, such as Amazon, that are making our lives easier, but we have to be like intentional about utilizing them. I don't go out to the store to buy birthday presents for 4-year-olds anymore. Like I just don't do that. I buy it on Amazon, it comes to my house, or I just like send it directly to like the kid who's having the birthday. Because it's just, it's a dumb thing anyway. And it's just one of those like tasks that does not need to like take a whole trip to Target for. So, most of that you can buy on Amazon, and it will save you time to open up your life for other things. So that's like asking for help, delegating, and then just be willing to make sacrifices, you know, like you have to decide for yourself, like, how much do you want this? Like, is this going to be a priority in your life? And if it's going to be, what sacrifices are you willing to take? So this is going to be completely different for everybody, but for us, like I told you, I really would rather have Audible than like our TV subscription when we moved to this house. So like we don't have cable anymore, which is insane to me, but like I was never watching it anyway. Like it's just like not something I'm interested in, and I don't need to watch The Bachelor. Like I just don't. I would rather spend my time doing other things. That doesn't mean that you don't have to. Like if that's a priority for you, then find something else that you can give up. But that was one way that I was able to save or get back a lot of my time, because we all have the same amount of time in the day, but it's just like how we utilize it. Create healthy barriers. We do not have to say yes to every volunteer thing at our kids' school. Like I don't really enjoy being the volunteer mom at the kids' school. And if I don't enjoy it, why am I forcing myself to do it just because I feel like I should? You know, like that, like, again, that if that's your thing, then just do it. But pick and choose like what you want to do. So like my volunteer thing that I enjoy doing is like the coffee thing at church. So I show up to church 1 hour early and I like prepare coffee for everyone before they come into church. And that's like my thing that I feel like I can contribute to society, but I choose when it is. And it's like an hour before my kids wake up. It doesn't like interfere with my time as being a mom and that kind of thing. But that's where I squeeze my like volunteering hours in or whatever. I get up on the weekends, even on the weekends, like time that I could be sleeping in, I usually get up just because I would like to get my workout in and also that's when I can have a true power hour, because during the week it's just too hard. A lot of times my husband packs my lunch and prepares my breakfast. So I can we do our workouts together most days. So he will come up and like pack my lunch while he knows that I'm just trying to post my workout. So I get those clips in, and that's just like something that we've worked out together. Molly is one of my coaches. She is like 30 weeks pregnant right now, and she's just rocking her pregnancy. She's not 30 weeks pregnant in this picture, but she is rocking her pregnancy, showing up every single day. And she's made a lot of sacrifices to do that, but she's still showing up. Carrie is another one of my rock star coaches whose mom is an alcoholic and was on the streets last year. She, instead of having a mom, has been a mom to her mother and has made tons of sacrifices in this business to make it work. But she doesn't make excuses for that. Both of these girls are nurses, by the way. And they've made sacrifices in their life to continue choosing Beachbody as like a priority, because they know this is something that makes them feel well and also transcends to their family. Getting your spouse involved is like so important. Like if I believe that your spouse is probably like the biggest influence on if you're going to be successful or not in this business. Like if they're not on board with this, it's going to be very difficult for you to thrive, because they're constantly going to be telling you how they don't like it, or it's taking too much time, or all these things. So one thing that I did from the very beginning is just tell John and communicate with him that this was something I really enjoyed, and he saw the change in me of how it made me feel and how my mood was lifted when I was like doing Beachbody stuff. And he's really come alongside me and like gotten on board. So that doesn't mean that sometimes he doesn't feel that it's taking too much of my time. So things that I do to combat that is, like I already said, prioritize a date night. If you need someone like a high school student to watch your kids or something like that, just find someone. It doesn't have to be super expensive to do, but like prioritize time together. Find a meeting point every day. Like we get up at 4 a.m. together every day. We sit down, do our like vision, affirmations, goals, devotion, and then we work out together. And that's our one meeting point of the day. If the rest of the day is totally crazy, he's also in medicine, so he's always working odd hours too, working overnights. And there's a lot of times where it's just hard to connect. But at least we know that most days of the week, we have that like one touch point of like our workout every day. I tell him about program launches, when we have retreats, times of push. There's like seasons of push in Beachbody, and like we just finished one of those, like with the end of the year push to like advance to premier, things like that. And I just have to let him know that we might have more team calls that during this time, that it's going to be taking a little bit more of my time during this season. But as long as like I'm communicating that with him, he's generally very considerate of that. And then I always incentivize my team. I mean, I think that I might not be as present for my team as other coaches. I look at Amy or other coaches that are working the business full time, and I just feel like they have more, and this might be a limiting belief too, but like they have more time to pour into their team. And since I don't feel like because I'm working or whatever, I don't always feel like I can pour into my team as much. So I try to incentivize them. I will host small retreats. Like this was one. I'm originally from Nebraska. I live in Ohio now, but this was a small retreat when I visited family back in Nebraska last year that I held for just my Nebraska coaches. Right now I have like a promotion going where I'm like sending out a t-shirt that I found on Etsy to anyone who hits like Success Club in the month of January or February. So different, like, they don't have to be big, they don't have to be expensive prizes, but like small little tokens, you know, like how excited do you get over like a stupid t-shirt that Beachbody makes for hitting Success Club? It's like, I don't even want that shirt, but like I want a free shirt, you know, like, so you're gonna perform to get something free, even though you might not want like a 10 rounds shirt. I'm still going to hit Success Club this month because I just want something free, you know? So I think it works. And I think you just have to find the vibe of your team of like what exactly they would want and ask them, like have their input in it, like delegate that too. And they'll give you some feedback. And it's just another way to have them be motivated to do something, like a goal to shoot towards, without maybe always checking in with them as much as you would like to, I guess. And then we just like keep it fun. I think realizing, going back to the beginning and saying, why did I want to join this community? Like, what was I so excited about and pumped about to join? And not forgetting that feeling, because I think you can get into months and months of this and be like, this is hard. And it's not fun anymore. It's just hard work. And I'm not seeing the success that I want to see as fast as I want to see it. But realizing, I always go back to like the compound effect, realizing that success takes time, and that if you just stay consistent, you will see success. It's just the people who aren't willing to stay around long enough to see their success actually come to fruition. So that's all I have. But if you guys have any questions or anything, I don't want to take too much of your time tonight, but those are probably my biggest pointers on just trying to balance the two, life of being a nurse and also coaching.
Oh my God. I think that this was like, we were literally just, before we hopped on our call, I was talking with another coach, and we were just kind of like, you know, talking back and forth about how I think one of the hardest things to figure out as a coach is just like your rhythm. Like, you know, and I feel like when you were going through like your schedule, I literally felt like I was like living my own, like what I used to do when I was working full time. But that's the thing. It's just like prioritizing your activities. I think a really big one that you touched on too was just like, you know, obviously getting those in, like, not responding to messages before you get out your, you know, daily invite goal kind of thing. That's such a little discipline, but it is so like important, you know, because you're so, and I found myself, you know, I do think it is, you know, what you said about, you know, doing this full time, having more time to pour into your team. I do like think that I used to think that I would too. But the thing that I found is like, there's always going to be something that fills our time, you know, whether it's your job that you're going to, or, you know, maybe it's like other responsibilities that come up in your life. There's always like, we all go through seasons. So that's something that I personally like, you know, I just want you to know, like, you're an amazing coach. So you probably like, your team probably feels all the love and all that stuff. I don't think it's quantity. I think it's quality, you know, and it's
absolutely,
it's like you give quality time to your team. So, but I just really like, I think that's probably one of the most tangible, biggest takeaways from tonight is probably just seeing how you work in pockets. Because just like you said, like how whatever your goal is with this business is unique to everyone. That's the beauty of coaching, but also exactly how we work this business is unique to everyone. I'm just like you, I still work. I feel like in the same amount of pockets every day. Like, I don't feel like I necessarily, I mean, obviously I do work more some than I did maybe before, like more on um, the creative side and like trying to mentors, you know, doing stuff like that. But I still work in pockets, you know. It's so funny, but like you have to find what works for you. And I guess in my mind, you know, I just maybe at some point power hours will become something that I really, you know, lean into depending, you know, but like, you know, I just think like you have to listen to the season that you're in. And I think that you really like honed in on that. Like you just have to, you have to lean into your hearts, you know, and figure out how it works for you. And then, you know, like no excuses, right? But like, you just have to make it work for you.
Mm-hmm. And it's funny because I feel like the seasons that you're most busy in can be your most productive ones.
Yeah.
The ones where you're like, oh, I'm just like kind of on cruise control. Like you think you do have more time. And so then you're half as productive because you aren't forced to get things done like in this 20 minutes that you have available. You're like, oh, I have 2 hours. And so then you don't get anything done in that entire time. So I think having structure is at least for me, is a really good thing.
Yeah, I know. I feel like that. I struggled with that when making that transition, because I felt like I constantly kept saying to myself, like, oh my God, like, I feel like I was so disciplined when I was working full time. Like,
Mm-hmm.
can I just go back to that? You know, like you have to create that discipline when you are, you know, doing this full time kind of thing. But anyway, I know that like everyone here like at least has, you know, like most people on this call work multiple jobs, like have different hats that they wear, or they're, you know, also like a mom and, you know, doing like carpool and sports and all of that stuff. So I think like all the little nuggets that you gave, like the time savers, same thing, like listening to national wake up calls and doing PD like on Audible versus like in a book. That was definitely something that saved a lot of time for me to then, you know, in that morning time before I did my workout, just like you, like it allowed me to have that time to do my invites, right? Instead of taking those 15 minutes to read my book, I put that time into doing my invites or follow-ups. And then I knew like on my way to work, I'd listen to my PD, you know, on my way home, I'd listen to the national wake up call, or cooking while I was cooking dinner or something like that. It's like, those are just a ton of like little time savers that I think like make that space for the things that the vital behaviors that are really going to drive our business forward kind of thing, you know, because it's so like, that's the thing I think maybe like as with newer coaches, and I think just as a coach in general, like that's one of the mindset switches, I think, is when you realize like, yes, we have to do all the vital behaviors every day, like, but the monotonous things of what we do, like to me, like when you say like I did it even when I didn't feel like it, it's like, yeah, like I know the things that if I get nothing done today, the monotonous things that I get done today, it's that I get out like my invites and I, you know, do my posts or whatever, like making sure that I do those things, and everything else I can kind of make work on the go, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, does anyone have any questions for Laura or just comments? Anything?
Quiet group.
They really are. You all are. You're very quiet. Like, I know you're not quiet, but you're quiet on calls. But I also, I did want to ask you, because I love the idea of delegating. I'm a terrible delegator. Oh, I had two things. Yeah. One, the delegation thing. So like, do you mean like when someone comes and has a question about Google Streak, for example, do you like send them to your girl, like to your coach and be like, go ask her? Like, how do you do that? Or did you like host a training?
So both. So like I've had them do team calls where they like train us on these things, because I'm like, wait, I need this training. So if I need this training, I bet a few of you do it. So they'll do a training on the call, on like a team call. And then we have like a a team message thread. This is how like basic I am. I don't even have it. I don't even have like a Facebook page. I have like a team Facebook message thread. Okay. And everything that all of our communication through our team is through this message thread. And so like, if we get a question on that, then I'll be like, I'll tag Megan in the message thread. I'll be like, talk to Megan about this, and she's an expert on it. So then it's like taken care of. And a lot of times they'll continue that conversation like in the group so then we all can see it.
Wow. I've never heard of that. That's like very different, but I feel like, whatever.
Like
works.
how primitive I am.
I can just imagine like this message.
I know, it's pretty insane. But the thing too is like, I don't have a huge team. So like, that's like one of my goals this year, but you have to also understand is that I come from the downline of Ashley Smith. So like, she still has this awesome Facebook page. So we all like can reference that. And then her downline, Jenny, is another Facebook that we can like constantly be engaged in. So I just feel like having another Facebook page is kind of like too much to constantly be going to. I don't know what your system is like, or if you guys do you guys have upline pages that you guys still stay engaged in?
It's it did like we have, okay, so I'm under like Melanie Mitro's downline. Okay. My upline coach like stopped working like very briefly after I started coaching, like literally like I was a challenger like you. I like did this for like 3 months and then I started coaching. A month later, she like went to another MLM and just like stopped. So she didn't have a team page. And then her upline didn't work, the business. And then their upline is actually now one of my she treats me like her PS coach. She has a page, but I'm with you. Like I joined the Dream Team, Melanie's page, and like I was able to take resources and I'm still a part of that team. And I always like offer those pages to people because I just see it as a great resource anytime, like, I'm sure with Ashley's page, it's the same thing. You just type in the search bar and like you can come up with all these random questions, that we get, like, celiac, or I don't know. I'm trying to think of like random Shakeology questions. And things. But I just don't like the overflow of pages. I think
exactly. It's just too much. Yeah.
But we do have a page. And
do you guys, this is like off topic, but do you guys still do like retreats and stuff with Melanie Metro?
So I'm just have been so far down that I am not in those retreats. I mean, I think technically I could. So Melanie has a rising star, so star diamonds and above page, where I've been more in, like, I know that they do sometimes do retreats and stuff through there. Yeah. But my upline that adopted me, she runs retreats. And so we have those. And then I've hosted my own retreat. So I guess no, like I don't really, we don't have that kind of upline.
Ours is still like really, really tight knit. Like we just like a week ago just got back from like the Inspiration Crew retreat. That's
amazing.
So like we still go to like all of Ashley Smith's stuff, but that's probably why, like, I think it's good though to like break out and like have your own thing, because that's how you grow. It's just she's made it really easy to like lean on her. So in a lot of ways, that's what I think.
It's a great thing. It's like what I want to create. You know what I mean? Like I didn't have that, so I'm like working on trying to create that also.
Yeah.
Money
and that's the thing.
But
exactly. Like my upline had a baby last year and was like totally MIA. So like, I just had to like do my own thing, and that's the beauty about this, is like, it doesn't have to be like your upline. It's completely whatever you decide you want to make it. And that's what I do think is neat.
Oh yeah. I'm a firm believer in that. I feel like the information's there, it's out there. You can find it. I found it, I think sometimes like I think that's probably one of my things as a coach that's been harder for me to is almost feeling like I do need, like just realizing there does not need to be a recreation of the wheel. Like we don't need to recreate the wheel. We
Right.
make it so much harder on ourselves. Yes, I think it's important to stand out and do your thing and lead from the front for your team, set the example, but like, don't stress yourself out. Like as a new coach, don't stress about having all these fancy trainings and all these things. Like, I really truly believe like you are building this alongside your team most of the time.
Right.
You know what I mean? And you
Mhm.
all can, I don't know, when you get to that point and you have that time or you have that passion or drive to do that, create that training or do that thing, like do it, but you don't have to, I think that's an expectation or maybe a belief that a lot of coaches sometimes like type A's and stuff, like nurses, like it's very common. Like we gotta know all the things. Like we feel like we gotta have all the things before we take the
So
action.
true.
I think it's so opposite. I think we just need to like take
Act
action,
first.
learn.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So
Mhm.
totally. The last little comment I just want to say, because I think this has been really important for me. And I know we all come into this at different stages. And when I first started this, I did not tell my spouse what up or like whatsoever. And he was not very on board. And so there's a lot of tension between us when I first started coaching because we were already very spread thin with our time together because of my nursing job, because of his job. And then here I was coaching, like, getting up early and, getting on team calls at 8:00 at night on a Monday and all this stuff. And he was like, what is going on? But huge, 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 huge has been communication. Like just telling him what I'm doing, why I'm doing it, like the big picture. And I'm telling you, it took like many times over. Like I have to tell him all the time, or I had to tell him all the time, like why I was doing this, because life happens, it gets busy, stressful seasons come up and it's like, they forget the why, but I know the why, or we know the why. Right. And so it's so, so, so important. And I swear to God, like the first 9 months of my business were like hell because he didn't get it. But then like made like the last year and a half, like probably the last year especially has been night and day. Like he is so, so supportive, like way more supportive than he ever was. Like he actually gets it. It feels like he's my partner in it. Same thing you said, like including him on things, telling him about things. It makes it a we thing, which this is anyway, and we shouldn't exclude that from the people in our immediate life and or who are also doing this for, right? So huge piece of advice is just tell the people you care about, because it will make a big difference. And it also helps in that asking for help piece, that you were saying, because that's true. Like I have to ask him for help a lot of times, like just doing one, like, that I'm doing it, yes, I have, training calls in the beginning of the month. Like, can you like accommodating that, planning for it and not just me, planning for it. It's something that we both plan around.
Right.
Yeah.
I totally agree.
Yeah. So anyway, I really could talk forever. I really do.
I know.
I feel so like much in common, but does anybody have any questions? No? Cool.
Well, thank you so much. It was like nice to meet you officially.
Yeah. So nice. Thank you so much for sharing tonight.
Yeah. Good luck, guys.
All
Have
right,
an awesome February.